you on a forklift?
Yeah, yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a
Hey.
tutti.
Ciao Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel where of course it's all Juve all the time. It is game day. We got Juve Fiorentina today. I am joined by my man Omar. Omar, how you doing today?
All good, all good. I'm fine. Waiting
Right
for the
on, right
game.
on. Everybody's jacked up to see Juve in action again, for sure, for sure. Let's go. We got some news to tackle today. Obviously, we're going to recap the always wonderful and it's always great to have Miracle by. He was by yesterday. We had an awesome discussion, just going really up and down the entire first team roster, getting a little into Juve next gen, whatnot, and just picking his brain on what he thinks going to happen, what he knows so far and where things stand. And there was some very interesting stuff to come out of it that we're definitely going to tackle. And then, of course, get into the buildup for the actual game between Juve and Fiorentina and have some fun with predictions. We're going to say what's up to Bob, as always. Ciao, Forza Juve, andiamo. We got Vito in here. Good morning, fellas. And Remo, ciao tutti, Forza Juve. Let's grab those 3 points. Absolutely. It's all about winning right now and tallying up those points. That's what we got to do. Now, we will tackle the news pretty light in terms of news coming into this one over the past couple days. Obviously, the Pogba thing continues to just be this dark cloud that kind of looms over Juve's head and whatnot, and fans in uproar and everything. And it's frustrating, no doubt, but there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. So everybody's taken Max's words in the press conference. Of course, he just said there's good days and there's bad days. And he said, they interchange and he does not know. Max's words were he does not know. He put out 20 days. He said maybe 20 days. I don't know. And everybody's clinging to the 20 days. It could be less. It obviously could be more. We might not see Pogba. Who knows? But from an injury standpoint, again, there's just nothing we can do about it. And it sucks. But even if you were going to say at the start of the year, oh, he's injury prone or whatnot, I still don't think anybody would have expected to this degree. Do you know what I mean, Omer?
Yeah, I had a bet with myself, but I posted it on Twitter. I said we're not going to see Pogba this season. Like I said it a month ago after one of the delays again, where he was reported to start but didn't eventually. And I get the frustration, and it is a good reason. Like Sebastian Haller had cancer about the same time, got cancer and already playing. Wijnaldum broke something or tore his ACL, came back yesterday for Roma. So I get where it's coming from, because at the beginning it was just for 2 months, and we were led to believe it's something rather minor, a couple of months out. Yes surgery, no surgery, and here we are in February, and he's still to play a minute. So who's ever frustrated, I get you. I get where you're coming from. It's an health issue. I don't think it's healthy and just saying, nah, I don't want to play it. So when it comes to health, what can we say? He's getting paid millions. He should be playing. A lot of the frustration comes from us wanting to see him play. But we'll have to take our time, because we've achieved nothing if he plays one game and then gets injured again because he's discomfort, but the fans are anxious.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And for me, it's just if anybody has gone through an injury, like it sucks. It's brutal, and certain rehabilitations, like it's a nightmare. It can be a nightmare, and you are tested mentally big time when you're coming back from injury. Obviously, some much more severe. We saw the Chiesa documentary. Obviously, it was available on Prime, Italian only, so I had to use a VPN and then check it out and whatnot. But it was great stuff, and man, just listening to him and the battles day by day mentally that he had to go through and overcome, and then second guessing everything you do upon return. It's not fun, no matter if the injury is big or small. But the fact that he can't get in, I'm sure nobody's as frustrated as Paul is, because all the reports and everything we're getting from everywhere is that this guy, like, he wants to get back out there and help these guys because of how he felt on that comeback. Everybody remembered the videos of when he arrived, and you could feel that excitement, not just from obviously all the fans that were there and whatnot, but actually him. Like, you could feel that energy. Like, he was jacked up to be back. I'm quite confident this is pissing him off just as much, and that he wants to get out there. It is what it is, though. We got to move on and just see. Now, everybody that's getting their hopes up about and I had a good chat with a friend yesterday about this, is just saying we need to get rid of him. We need to get rid of him. Look, don't hold your breath on that. Okay, he's contracted. He's contracted for several years. Nobody's going to be coming in for Paul Pogba. And if you think Juve was smart enough to insert some type of clause where they could get out of this thing based on injuries, again, who would have predicted to this degree? Being in February, mid-February, and Paul Pogba not playing a competitive minute. If nobody would have banked on that, what are the odds they have a clause to get out of it? Absolutely not. So the only way of breaking contract is with Paul also wanting to break that contract. Now you have a guy that's into mid-February at his age that's not played a competitive minute. Do you think he's going to want to break that contract? No chance. No chance. So all this talk and all these media outlines about Juve breaking contract, being upset, they could be as upset as they want. A contract is a contract. So do not hold your breath on that happening. Anything to add to that, Omer?
Yeah, we might have already, made it worse when we played him back in the summer in that American tour, because he wasn't completely healthy. Like, he was injured even before he came to Juve, and maybe pushing him back on the field even for a friendly may have aggravated his injury a bit, and that's what led us all the way down here. And maybe we didn't. Maybe it's just his body is collapsing. The playing for Man United in the EPL for several years, and with Juve before that, some athletes, it takes a toll on your body, and sometimes not everybody make it to the later stages of their career. And yeah, I agree with Dels. It has been a disaster so far, but like we said, you gotta judge it by the end and not halfway through, because it could turn out to be a magnificent signing if out of the 4 years he plays for three of them and helps us win trophies. Then we look back at this season and laugh. And it could also go the other way. So I see both sides of the argument, and I'm finding it hard to place myself where I'm actually at.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Del saying, not that I want him to leave, but contracts can be broken via break clauses, buyout negotiations. It's yes. But again, the clause. What are the odds? Number one, I've seen enough business out of them for the past 4 years that there's no chance they've got that clause put in there. Okay, I'll just say it right now. Like, if you're expecting them to have a clause in there, I wouldn't. Buyout negotiations, sure. Again, let's look at where they stand financially. Do you expect them to dump all of that and have absolutely nothing to get out of it? Can't see them wanting a buyout. Again, Paul, this thing breaks if Paul's willing to break it. Otherwise, I do not see this going down. There's just no way. There's no way
Yeah,
Paul's going to sacrifice that money that he's
our
guaranteed in
hands
the contract.
our hands are tied. Like,
Yeah.
we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, absolutely. If some clause all of a sudden appears, and not that I really right now, I mean, it sucks, but again, injuries can go so many different ways. We wait and see. He's got pain. What can you do? You got to wait to rehabilitate. Omer makes a great point about maybe in the US he wasn't quite ready. Who knows? But nonetheless, even in one friendly, you saw the impact and difference that the guy can make on the pitch. And it hasn't been available to Juventus, so we all get pissed off about it naturally. In terms of management and everybody going at them for even bringing Paul back, and now in hindsight saying, oh, this was a big mistake. Again, you have to look at the years of poor business leading up to that. We weren't going to go out there and splash money on big signings. We didn't have it. So that's the main reason you saw Di Maria on a free, Pogba on a free. Again, our hands were tied. So you can shit on them for that and say, oh, this was a big mistake. Jeremiah bringing up the point that we would have been better off probably keeping Dybala. Well, there's not a lot, and the picture we thought would probably clear up after Dybala left, but there's still a lot that remains uncertain about just how everything shook up towards the end.
And let's not forget, without Dybala and without Pogba, leave aside the minus 15, we're ahead of Roma and we're still in the Coppa Italia and in Europa League. So without both of them, Juve still had a better season than Roma.
Not only that, okay, let's go a step further and talk about Dybala. And I was very, very vocal about this part. If you, in fact, love the club as much as you say and all this, he had multiple opportunities to sign with Juve. And he has now taken significantly less where he's at. And not only that, you went to Inter, of all friggin' clubs, to try and use that as leverage against Juve. What are we talking about here? That ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. And yeah,
we love Dybala. It's very easy to judge actions in hindsight. At the time, Pogba seems like the right move, someone we needed, some midfielder with experience and technical ability and creativity. And now that he's injured, it's easy to say it's been a bad business. If he has been available all season, then it might not have been such a bad business. And just to point out, we love Dybala. It's not easy to suddenly hate someone you love.
I love Dybala for his time here.
It has nothing to do with my love for him.
But again, you don't do something like that if you actually, you know what I mean? Like, he had multiple opportunities to get that contract done and dusted. By the end of it, again, Vlahovic came in, and I think that was the seal for the final nail in the coffin, I guess, at Dybala's time at Juve, because he had ample opportunity before that to see that thing through. I also will say this: take Dybala and Juventus out of it. He needs proper management, because his agent is an absolute joke. It started with his brother way back when, and now he's got this Jorge Antun. Get some proper management, Paulo Dybala. But at this point in your career, I don't think it's going to make a difference anymore. You had your opportunity to get your biggest signing at that moment, and the guy just blew it up. So is what it is. We move. Now let's talk a bit about. We have Fagioli's birthday, so tanti auguri go out to Fagioli. Juventini have high hopes for this kid. Okay. And getting him going. There's talks about number 8. He doesn't like number 8. There's a quote yesterday about Fagioli talking about, love Marquise and whatnot, but he wants to be like his idols, Del Piero, and then he adds Dybala. Okay, so Dybala we just talked about, but here's Fagioli trying to get in there. Let's talk a bit about Fagioli. There's still some out there that just see him as the big impact and the reason that there was a shift in terms of results for Juventus as soon as he was added to the midfield. Omer, let's take me through your thoughts on Fagioli so far, and what you think he can actually be. Can he reach the level of being one of the main guys at Juve?
At the beginning, when he almost left in the summer, and there were those talks of who's going to stay out of the three, Miretti, Fagioli, Rovella, I really hoped Fagioli won't be sold or loaned out again, because he won the midfielder of the season in Serie B, same as Verratti, and that's, even though it's not Serie A and it's not the Premier League, it does say something. And he led Cremonese to Serie A, so I was really hoping he would stay. Then he got benched for a long while by Allegri, which all of us didn't like because we saw that the midfield was non-functional. So why not try something that might work? It was a frustrating time, but then he sort of burst onto the scene, like really burst onto the scene. First against Lecce, and then it just continued. So that's like just watching a young player game by game, realizing himself, understanding the team, the chemistry. He does seem to have far better chemistry with Lucatelli next to him. Of course, he's going to have off days and bad games, but he's on the upward trajectory right now. Like, I don't see him declining, and I do think he can play a pivotal role. I don't believe it's going to be reflected in numbers like assists and goals. I think it will be, might be more similar to Iniesta, like the facilitator, the guy who navigates the attacks and things go through him, but he's not on the end product of the final pass or the final shot at goal. But he is good on both fronts, both defensively and offensively. I would really like to see him in a double pivot with Lucatelli. I think that might be our best setup, considering everything. And once again, there's nothing better than watching your own product grow up to be a fundamental player for the team. We've had it with Marquisio. We're still hoping for that from Moiskin and all the young guys that are coming up now through the youth academy. I have high hopes for him. A lot is dependent on the coach and who is going to be here next season. Is it Allegri again or someone new? But I so far I have nothing bad to say against him. I really like to see him. I really enjoy seeing him evolve game by game.
Yeah. So we're gonna for Fagioli, for me, is like, I think he can. I think he could definitely be one of the main guys in the future for Juventus. I actually believe he might have a chance to be something a bit bigger if we can push him a bit more forward also as well. If we're going to play a three-man midfield and had two pivots behind and have him as the attacking option, I actually think he might achieve more definitely in terms of production. I mean, as he stands right now, it's 2 goals, 2 assists, and both big goals. Beautiful setup on Vlahovic's last one there, and I think he's got a lot there, and I think we've barely scratched the surface. But it's great to see that he's getting the time, he's getting the reps. We all know that it was this close to losing him in the summer, and he fought for that. And I commended him at the time and said, good for you, because we need to do that. We need to get these guys that want to fight for those minutes, compete with guys that might be the 1As right there, and offer that competition. We saw the same thing out of Sule. And I think Sule's a bit of a victim of the circumstances in terms of how we play, in terms of setup, that really limits his time. But I do want to see much more of Sule. I also think Illing Jr., based on what we've seen when he gets into matches, should be getting more minutes.
These guys are a leg behind. Like Fagioli is a bit above them. He has more experience.
Kostic has been lately starting to ramp up again. So it's kind of one of these things where Kostic has been going with the wind since World Cup, and just going, abysmal, good, bad, really good. So it's all over the place. But man, you can also reserve Kostic a little bit more moving forward by giving Illing Jr. not only those substitutions later on, but you can offer more time to him for sure. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Fagioli, I think we're expecting big things. Also,
Happy
again,
birthday.
if you've been living under a rock, tanti auguri to Fagioli, but if you've been living under a rock, they put out his future starts FIFA card. And oh, yeah, I had great time with that one all weekend in the weekend league. My Friday night was piss poor for weekend league, but I went on a tear yesterday. Okay. 8-2 yesterday to save face from what was a brutal Friday night. We won't talk about my weekend league. Okay. But if you haven't picked up the Fagioli Future Stars card, go out and grab it. It's great stuff. Okay. Now, in terms of Mirko Di Natale was on the show yesterday. It was awesome. Trident. Everybody's talking Trident today. Well, it's been reported. We'll see it. The repercussions, hey, every action has an equal or opposite reaction. So you get the Trident. You also get DeCilio as right wing back. So there you go. Every action has an equal or opposite reaction. Now, Mirko Di Natale was on yesterday. If you guys haven't checked out the live, make sure you save that video and at some point end up checking it out. He had a lot of great stuff to say. Some of the highlights I would have to say are that Szczesny, he says, will not finish his career at Juve one way or another. And there is a possibility for a move getting done and a Premier team coming in. He's going into his final year contract, but he doesn't rule that out. Perin is under contract till 2025, should take up the first spot, and then they're going to bring in a young guy. Again, either Carnesecchi or Vicario, as everyone's anticipating. In terms of Bonucci, probably just going to wind out his contract, which is one more season, and then that's it. But he's no longer a starter, and that's just the reality. Paredes, almost 100% as good as gone in the summer. Vlahovic, this was the big one. He says Vlahovic is he is happy right now as it stands at Juventus. Juventus as a club have zero intention right now at this moment in time of selling Dusan Vlahovic. I asked what if certain circumstances should come and things turn for a really bad negative in terms of European play and everything like that. He says right now, everything he's got, everything he has from his sources still say that unsellable. Vlahovic is unsellable. It would be up to the player, which right now he is happy at Juventus. European play might change things, so let's see what happens. But in terms of the frustration, he says some are building off of Dusan Vlahovic, body language and stuff like that. He says it's more so right now out of himself. So he shined a light on the game he came back from injury, his first start there. It was a bad performance. Dusan Vlahovic was extremely upset and not at anything else other than himself. And he said the very next day he was the first one at camp and he put his head down and got to work because he was so pissed off with himself. And that's the kind of guy he is. He shared a story about Dusan Vlahovic being 15 or 16 years old and it's his birthday and everybody's trying to set up what they're doing. He wanted to go and train and bypass birthday celebrations to go out there. So it's a bit of a small little insight into the level of this guy mentally and what he's doing. And he's all about himself, getting himself to where he needs to be. There's no doubt about it. He is much leaner. If you're looking at him on the pitch, he is leaned out big time. And we should start seeing it take effect on the pitch. He does look like he's moving quite a bit smoother than he was earlier on, especially in hold-up scenarios and everything. Just much more agile now that he looks to be quite a bit leaned out and not as bulky. What do you think, Omer?
I've said it on a couple of podcasts last season, mainly that I do think he's the type of guy who gets frustrated with himself and is beating himself up. I don't. It doesn't strike me as someone who blames everyone around him, but he was perfect and gave it all. He only looks at himself. That's what I got from him, and now you're confirming it to me that that's the type of guy he is. He does look a bit leaner, maybe even seeing that he has a serious competition for his spot by Keane and Milik pushed him do even more and try even harder. I'm not surprised that he's not up for sale. That's the logical move. He's unsellable. We just bought him a year ago, still yet to prove his worth. And as you said, according to his own character, he would want to prove himself before wanting to maybe take the next step. Hopefully, he wouldn't take it and we'll have him here. But I love him. I don't want him to leave. And he looks good. Let's see how he performs today against his old club.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens. We got him. We got Chiesa going up against Fiorentina. Hopefully, we can make Rocco Comoso cry a little bit more. We're used to his tears. He's probably still waiting for that phone call, that goodbye from Chiesa. Why don't you send him a little goodbye gift with a brace today, Federico? Okay, let's do that. Now, obviously, light on news for today. Chiellini, Del Piero are amongst names. Obviously, we've known for a while with management at Juventus. This goes back a long way with Chiellini because obviously business degree and everything. And it was literally said as he was winding down, there will be a spot for him in the office. So it just feels like a matter of time. Del Piero, we're not sure about. But Platini now being thrown out there today, regardless of sources, just hypothetically, for me, that would have to be a route Juve simply cannot go down. Omer, your thoughts?
Repeat your last sentence.
Platini being added to the mix, regardless of sources. Hypothetically, for me, it would be a personality Juve must avoid.
Hard to disagree. There's something in motion at Juve. I mean, they are making moves under the surface that seem wrong, but maybe they have like a grand plan because, associating yourself with the Super League has got a real boost in the past week. And Platini and the relationship with UEFA and FIFA and all. I don't know, something is going on. I don't think they're doing it just, to put a finger in everyone's eyes. I think they have a plan. I don't think Platini is the right one because I don't believe the players today who are playing today, grew on his legacy. And I do believe it's important to have someone that the players look up to and don't want to disappoint him. I don't think Platini is the guy, and all his history with UEFA, it didn't go down well. He's been accused of bribery and tons of other stuff, kind of left office in a shameful way. So I would like Juve to distance themselves from that type of behavior and that type of spotlight on them. But maybe they have a plan that we don't know about, and it's already in the works. So no for me. But let's see how it plays out.
Yeah. No for me as well. Jeremiah, right away. Platini as a player, genius. In top management, absolute fraud. Yeah, I just think, you talk about these characters and just the timing would be so bad with what's going on with Juve right now to bring in like Platini. It's like, talk about reading the room. Like, no.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe there is something that in plans, that they have it. We don't know about. No one knows about yet.
Yeah.
And Platini might be a central figure in it, but maybe not. And it's just a dumb move. I wouldn't be surprised. You have done tons of dumb moves over the years.
Yeah.
Especially the past few years.
So
wait and see.
We're going to have some fun. I just want to read this tweet that was absolute money from our follower and subscriber there, David Sartori. He will be joining us at some point on the podcast. I know he's reached out and he's got a few things on the go, but once he clears up, I can't wait to have this guy on. He's absolutely hilarious. He's like watching my spirit animal out there on Twitter because he's constantly giving it to rivals and everything. And here's a couple. Here's a couple.
He's smart. He has good points. It's not.
He's got incredible knowledge when it comes to everything, and his ability to retain historic moments and everything is huge here. But it's pretty funny. So Napoli talk. The only time this account gets any kind of impressions is obviously when they talk about Juve. They put Juventini trying to hide the fact there's 14,000 pages of evidence against them. Let me remind you, the judge that dissolved and put Napoli in Serie C in 2004 for debt was from Napoli and a Napoli fan. You can be a fan and still do your job correctly, as was done here. Oh, yeah, don't worry. My boy Davide comes in very, very strong. He laughs, and it was the logic here. You don't get to stay in Serie A when you are officially declared bankrupt and can't even pay to register the following season. Fiorentina, Parma, many others suffered the same fate. Completely different. There isn't even a rule, and completely starts laughing at that account again. Here's one that's even better. In terms of Napoli coming out saying, when the Super League is back, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Juventus have contacted more than 50 clubs. This was when that news first broke out. You have a Napoli fan putting Juventus moving like a kid who always tries to hang out with the popular kids. Davide Sartori, don't worry. My guy's got a response for that too. He says, the Agnellis are out here getting backers like JP Morgan. If we left it to Napoli in charge, the sponsors would be an Amalfi lemon cart and that pizzeria everyone queues for on TikTok. That was my absolute favorite. Had me damn near in stitches reading that thing. Absolute gold. If we left Napoli in charge, the sponsors would be an Amalfi lemon cart and that pizzeria. Oh my God. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. So that makes the queue today for one of the top tweets since our last live show. So great stuff there, and I can't wait to have him on. So on Twitter, hey, Twitter's a wild world, but surround yourself with some at least funny banter if you're going to get banter and good stuff. So there you have it. Juve Fiorentina today. For everyone that's out there getting ready to make some bets, Juventus winning pays you 1.9 times your money. A draw, 3.5 times your money. Fiorentina to pull it off, just a little over 4 times your money. But don't hold your breath on that one. We're going to talk a bit about this game and what we expect to go down. Juve can make this 3 wins in a row facing Fiorentina, as obviously they're trying to get back up the table. Fiorentina have failed to keep a clean sheet in 8 Serie A matches. Okay. And what was the last Sunday? 2-1 home defeat at, I believe, the hands of Bologna. And we've got, they're going to be without Igor and Mandragora. Okay. And Castrovilli is, I think, uncertain. So it's doubtful on him as well. They're going to be pinning their hopes on their midfield to at least try and dominate and create. It's going to be Bonaventura, Amrabat, who had a great World Cup, and then Barak, who's being used differently than when he came in from Verona, who was doing damage as an attacking mid. He's more locked into a more base role with Fiorentina, but can still definitely get involved. You still see that shine through from him, that he likes to get forward and get involved. Their front line, Gonzalez, Jovic, and Kwame. So 4-3-3 from them as expected. For Juve, Fagioli is going to come into the mix. We should be seeing Locatelli, Fagioli, Rabiot. I'll give you guys the expected lineup because, yes, the news today is that we are going to see that trident, okay? So you got it listed here as Szczesny in goal, Danilo, Bremer, Sandro, De Sciglio, Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic. Sorry, 3-4-3. Fagioli was expected to come in, but he's going to be the one sacrificed for Di Maria, Chiesa, Vlahovic. Your thoughts on that lineup right out of the gate, Omer? De Sciglio as one of your 4 in the middle on the outside right. Locatelli, Rabiot, 2 pivots. Di Maria, Chiesa ahead of them. Vlahovic up top, Kostic on the left. All the same at the back between center backs and Szczesny.
I've been banging the 3-4-3 drums, I think 2 seasons ago. I really would have liked to see it. I think Atalanta show us that you can play with that formation in a very fluid and attacking way and pile up tons of pressure. It mostly comes down to work in the midfield. Your 2 pivots in midfield have to work really hard. I have no problem with any of them. Like all of them work really hard. Locatelli, Rabiot, or Fagioli, whoever. I would have liked to see Fagioli and Locatelli, but Rabiot will probably start. Um, the Trident, let's see. We wanted to see that for a long time. Let's hope we get our what we wanted to see from them. I don't know how it's going to play out. If it's Di Maria behind both of them, or Di Maria and Chiesa on the wings and Vlahovic in the center. The Schiller is the Schiller. They said Quadrado didn't train yesterday. He had a flu or something. That's why he's not starting. Kostic, fine. The back line is fine. Szczesny, fine. Overall, good. It's good news that Igor is missing. He's hands down their best center back. Hopefully, Castrovilli is out too. Gonzalez is one hell of a striker. Should put our eyes on him. And no Fiorentina fans. They're protesting something. I don't know what, but they're not coming to the match. So that's more good news for us. At the end of the day, it's a home game. We have a strong enough team. Even that lineup should win it quite comfortably. I wouldn't say like 4-1, 5-1, but we could win it 2-0, 1-0. I'll be fine with it.
Yeah. I love the fact that the Fiorentina fans making a statement, not going to pick up tickets because they have to pick them up through Juventus and whatnot, not going to support the dirty club. Okay, don't show up to support your team. Yeah, that'll show us.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? All right.
We're already trying.
Let's get to some key stats heading into this one and then players to watch. Okay, so key stats. Juventus have won 8 of their last 9 home games against Fiorentina in all competitions. Fiorentina have only managed to win 1 of their last 7 league encounters. Juventus have only collected 1 point in their last 2 home matches. Of course, we had the 3-3 draw against Atalanta and then the 2-0 loss to Monza. But the last time they went on a 3-game winless run at the Allianz Stadium in Serie A was in the start of that 2015-16 season. That's the last time they went winless in 3 straight at Allianz. Only Victor Osimhen with 0.94 has scored more goals per game in Serie A than Dusan Vlahovic, who is at 0.67. So while we have been missing Dusan Vlahovic for a bit, his rate is still strong. I expect that to continue. So I'm going to put my player to watch in this one as, again, Dusan Vlahovic. 3-4-3, 3-5-2, whatever. He's going to be my player to watch. As a whole, I think either if we're in 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, regardless of what, Max, that will help us against Fiorentina's 4-3-3. We were losing battles earlier in the season in that 4-3-3, especially in the midfield. I see both of these setups helping us out tremendously against them. So Barak can be a handful, especially in the final third. Amrabat's been playing solid. He's solid. He's a solid player. Bonaventura getting up there in age, but can still find ways to contribute in her clubs. But I feel pretty good about Juve in the setup. And if we do finally get this trident, 3-4-3, you have a base 2 of Locatelli and Rabiot. De Sciglio on the right is probably the only sore spot for me on this lineup. I think if Quad was ready to go, I definitely would use him over De Sciglio. But other than that, I'm expecting full systems go. Any thoughts on some of those numbers and the key stats? And who's your player to watch, Omer?
And not too many thoughts about the stats. I'm not a big stat guy. Players to watch. I'm always keeping a close eye on Locatelli and the way he moves and everyone moves around him and how he positions himself, especially defensively. And maybe that 3-4-3 might take, some of the creation duty off him. We still need to see how it plays out. I mean, Dusan's numbers, I'm not surprised. It's too bad we didn't have him fully fit since October, but let's see what it means for the end of the season. Osimhen is a beast, and they have a system that works perfectly for him. Um, so no point in comparing the two. It's just stats for fun. But on any given day, Dushan can stand up there with Osimhen and be as good as him. So what? Let's wait and see. I have pretty good hopes actually for today.
So
Eyes on Bremer too. I have eyes on Bremer too. There are
we
no
had we
crucial.
did spend a little time talking about Sule, but coming in here with what do you guys think about Sule? I will say this about the 3-4-3. One of the major benefits of it is the fact that you can now have more time available to Sule because you're going to be playing with that two behind Vlahovic of Di Maria and Chiesa. This should open up for more minutes for Sule. Not only that, you could also utilize Fagioli in one of those roles, and he can move forward and use some of those offensive abilities a bit more. Illing Jr. would be an interesting option at one of those roles as well. So this 3-4-2-1, if you want to call it, or 3-4-3, opens up more windows for these other guys that have been on that fringe, like just chomping at the bit to get in there. So that's a big key. I like Sule. He needs more minutes. Earlier in the show, I said I think he's a victim of the circumstances and how we play with one creative behind that forward. This should open the door for more minutes for this guy and a couple others potentially.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I think it was bound to happen after Miretti's injury that will go to two midfielders, two central midfielders. We have four available. One more injury, which could happen. We have three, and so no chance, no point in risking everyone. Let it can work perfectly. It can work great if the guys are utilized correctly. I'm actually excited to see how it plays out, and hopefully it will be good and we'll continue with it because I like that formation a lot.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, how it pans out. I'm going to remind everybody I'm going to be live for the watch along. Okay. So we'll kick off about 8:50 a.m. my time, 11:50 Eastern time, 10 minutes before kickoff. Okay. So you guys, after this live show, can go relax for a bit and then make sure you just jump right back in and share in the live reactions. Jeremiah getting ahead of the game with his predictions here and coming out 4-0. Juve, Dushan, Di Maria, Rabiot, Fagioli, 13 attempts, 7 on target. Player to watch, both Di Maria and Fagioli. Well, wow. Okay, we might as well get to the predictions. So, Omar, do you want to kick it off or would you like me to?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. Why not? Let's go with, I think, 2-0 Juve. I don't think Fiorentina will find a goal. I think it will be a super tough match. We're going to have a lot of cards, a lot of aggressive guys on both fronts who tend to get more yellows more often than not. Goal scorers. Maybe today, let's go with both Dushan and Chiesa for the first time, both on the score sheet. And tiebreaker. Yeah, I'll continue with the yellow cards. I say 10 yellow cards overall, both teams.
All right. Dom B's got 2-1. Dell's going 1-0. Ramo 2-0. Chiesa and Vlahovic. Okay. 3-0 from Deepak there with Vlahovic, Chiesa, Danilo. I like the Danilo shout on a goal. So I think there's it's hard to read how this thing's going to go with the first time seeing that trident and getting those guys ahead. Now you have the two-man base. You also have De Sciglio on the right. Fiorentina playing three in the middle. Barak can be a load. I think it'll be a little bit interesting to see. We just haven't seen this yet. So I expect it to be tight, though. Tight because it is the first time we're going to see this thing competitively with this trident. I would love for it to go bonkers right out of the gate, but it might need some time too. I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to call it 2-1. I'm going to call a 2-1 Juve victory today. And I'm going to say Vlahovic gets on the board again. And I'm going to peg Di Maria for a goal. So I'm going to go with Dusan and Di Maria. I will say, I think somebody gets sent off today. So I'm going to call somebody getting sent off, and I think it's going to be from Fiorentina. So I'll say that that as one of my other tiebreakers.
I think it's yet to happen this season. I don't remember any team having someone sent off against us, which is very rare actually in February.
Yeah. And we got some more shouts. 2-0 from Anish, 2-1. Devashish, Anthony, 4-0. Bring the storm. Okay. We got our predictions in. Now it's that lovely time for Storm the Barn, everybody. Okay, so get your questions in. I'm going to open it up for Omar first to see if there's anything we haven't touched on that you wanted to. And then I'm going to share some other news. But Omar, is there anything you have as a question that we haven't maybe touched on yet?
Let me think. First of all, how was the Chiesa documentary?
The Chiesa documentary was good. It was literally just tracking his period through recovery to getting back on the pitch. It was cool little insights about, again, the struggles of what he went through and how difficult it was, and just the whole process behind it and what a player goes through during something so severe. And he's still got everything ahead of him, and it literally reminded me of everything Del Piero said about when he went through it, and he went through his knee injury, and you question everything. Am I going to be the same? Can I get back to it? Can I make these sharp cuts? And the fear that he was going through in trying to go back to what he knew, what was second nature to him. It was intense from that aspect, but it was cool overall just to see and get a little bit more insight into him behind the scenes. And it was a good show. It's a good show. Nothing crazy or groundbreaking by any means, but just cool to see, right?
Yeah, or is it interesting? Does it shed light on some of the process of recovering from a serious injury? I'm sure it does. I have yet to watch it, so I will watch it.
Yeah.
Let's go with a different question. Let's say
before we get to the question, I'm just going to let everybody know that obviously there might be call-ins. I know Anish has been going nuts in the chat here. We might do halftime calls during the watch along. I don't know yet, okay? But if anybody wants to ever, this is where you get me on WhatsApp, okay? So add that on WhatsApp. I'm going to leave this up for a bit. We're going to get to Omar's question. I'm going to let your guys storm the barns, and then I have another little tidbit that I'm going to put out there for news. Okay, so Omar, go ahead.
Let's say you get to bring 3 players in the summer for minimum value. Give me positions and players you'd look after.
Sorry, Omar. Again, it cut out.
3 players in the summer, minimum value. Who would you get to balance this team?
Minimum
consider
value.
Everything. Yeah, consider everything. Players going out, players with long-term contracts, everything. Into perspective.
Rovella coming back.
Leave the guys coming back alone. They're coming back. They're ours. So it's not a part. Just 3 players.
Yeah,
you
but
would
that's
bring
like the
in.
ultimate minimum value. I mean, they're ours.
Good. Then you can focus on 3 other positions.
But I don't know who's on. I would say we're going to utilize some free agents, and I don't know on that list. Grimaldo would be on my list, and I would definitely look Grimaldo's way. I don't have the free list in front of me anymore, but there's a lot of players on that free list this summer, and I know how people feel about the free signings. You end up paying way more in agent fees and in salary and whatnot, but realistically, that's going to be something in Juve's wheelhouse unless we don't make European competitions in which we are going to be focusing on guys coming back potentially and our young guys.
Yeah, I will point out there are new UEFA rules about agent fees and stuff. I don't think it's you can use them yet, but I think from the summer they will take place, and you have to consider them. It's percentages of a sale could go to the agent, which are very low actually. I mean, I think the regulation is good. It's solid, but we'll
Yeah.
wait and see.
And
Three players: Grimaldo for free. Let's go Ivan Indica from Frankfurt. I just the Italian players. I mean, they are going to ask a lot of money for them. Nothing short of 30 million minimum. The Juve tax is at large in Serie A. So, although I want to see Italian players, young Italian players, I think they're really hard to get right now, especially for Juve.
yeah, I'm going to try and pull up that list, and then we'll probably get back to this question because it's really hard to make the call without that list. There, all I know is that there's a ton of free players this summer, like a lot. And there,
Yeah.
I remember looking at 5 names immediately being like, I would definitely
Sign all of them.
look at that. Now, we've got, I'm going to take the WhatsApp number on there. Like I said, if you ever want to join in on some call-ins, we might do one at halftime. I'm not 100% sure on the watch along. Depends how it goes. But there it is. I'm going to pull that down. I'm going to give one more piece of news before we get to all the other Storm the Barns, and that is that you asked for it and you got it. We have the All Juve Cast Pro Clubs, FIFA Pro Clubs team created. The AJC Army is alive and well. Okay, so if you want to join in on that, you have to join. You just have to add me on the consoles. I'm on PS, but it is AJC Berto. Pretty straightforward. Add me there if you're interested, or message me on WhatsApp. We'll get you added into the pro clubs, and then we can all hopefully have some game. I know Michael Razzo, he's not with us today. He'll probably be there for the watch along, but he is going to be stoked on that because he was one of the big pushers for that. So we're going to have fun there. Now, I will pull up that list. We're going to get to some Storm the Barn comments. This one is apparently just for you, Omer, so I'll sit back anyways. It says, I have a question for you. Can we try 4-5-1 flat with Chiesa and Di Maria on the extreme sides? So I guess putting both of them as wing backs.
Yeah, it's sort of wing backs because you still have 2 fullbacks if you're going for at the back. Personally, I don't like it because you have to look at formation on both sides, not only offensively but defensively. I think it draws both Chiesa and Di Maria further away from goal, and we need those guys closer to goal. We don't need to run them down with too much defensive duties. They still need to be available when we get the ball and as close as they can to the goal. We don't press good enough as it is with 2 guys up front. I don't see us pressing even better with 1 guy up front, and it's much more easier to mark a single striker who plays there alone with no one around him. So yeah, maybe defensively it will be better, but offensively I think it will be a lot worse. I like a proper balance. That's why I'm banging on the 3-4-3, 4-3-3. But you need bodies, and you need not run your players down all across the pitch all game long. You need them to feel comfortable in their positions. And 4-5-1 doesn't strike me as having too much of familiar positions to our players. I think the 4-3-3 has most, we can utilize most of our players in a 4-3-3, not in a 3-5-2 like we've been playing most of the season. But what do I know? I'm just, someone commenting on a podcast. I've never been a manager or played in any of those systems. So that's just my opinion. I am winning a lot of Champions Leagues on career mode in FIFA, so take my word for it.
There we go. There we go. Omar has answered the first Storm the Barn. I'm going to leave it at that because we got a bunch, so we're going to move on. Jeremiah, are we going to win Europa League? What do you guys think? Personally, I think so. It's the only way into Champions League at the moment. Think we're going to win it?
It's purely a bet. Like we can't we can't really answer that, with guarantees. It really depends on who we draw, because still Barca and Man United are there, and they're super strong this season. Both of them, I don't think we're at their level yet. Uh, if we draw one of them in the next round, we can't because they drew each other, so one of them is going out. But if we do draw one of them, I don't think we'll go through. But knockout games, everything is possible. Everything can change in an instant. So I hope we'd win it. I don't think we'll win it, but we are favorites. Like Dale said here, we're definitely among the favorites. No one wants to draw us and play against us. I saw that the Nantes game is almost sold out. I think like 300 tickets left. Today we're going to have half an empty or half full stadium, whatever, whichever way you want to look at it. But I don't think we'll win it. I hope I'm wrong and they'll surprise me. But the teams out there are not pushovers, and we'll have our handfuls. We shouldn't treat it like it's a minor tournament compared to Champions League, so we should win it easily.
Yeah. It's for me, it's doable. We got the right guys coming back. I mean, again, we'll see the Trident for the first time. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes first in one game, one day at a time, right? Right now, I would have to say no, but that could change immediately if all of a sudden we catch fire. Right now, for me, this team needs to score more goals. We're coming off the victory with the Duchan brace and everything like that. We need to get firing. If we start to get firing, I feel way better about our chances. If we are the same team where even during that 8-game streak, whatever, we're still struggling to put the ball in the back of the net, I'm not feeling as good. But if all of a sudden, like I said, Vlahovic is back, Chiesa is getting back into the mix. If these guys start catching fire and all of a sudden we can bag a few goals a game, okay, now things change. Now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we can actually fire. Because up until this point, and again, it's still not overconfident in the feeling, but the feeling was if Juve goes down, we are going to struggle big time. And we needed to not concede first. That can change if the guys that are firepower get going. So we need Vlahovic firing from here on out rest of the season. We need Chiesa going. And Di Maria, if this Trident works out, this could be what gives us that hope and that extra confidence moving forward, because we need to be able to score goals. This 1-0 thing, whatever, it's not going to get you as far as you need to go. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I'll add, if we do get at some point, we get our points back, that's a huge mentality boost for the team, which will get them to push even further. And we always said that this team is mentally weak. So anything that boosts mentality could have serious effects on the games forward. And like I said, I want us to have, I want teams to adjust themselves to us and have a bit of fear, because right now it feels like, press Juve and they do nothing. Yeah. I want some Man United to come and play and have to work their way and think about how to win against Juve, and not just play their way and they'll get the win.
And the biggest thing out of that victory against Salernitana that I said is we have to be willing and able to not just want to go out right out of the gate like against Salernitana. We have to be brave enough to do that against all teams. Yeah. Arsenal and Atleti Del Sain are in there too. Of course, this is what I'm saying about Juve, though. We have to be willing and able to play that manner against whoever is across from us and lines up across from us. And once we see that, sure, if we can start playing games properly with the right approach and we could start bagging some goals, we do have a shot at taking that Europa League. Coppa Italia and Europa League are big right now, because Coppa Italia, obviously the in for Europa, and then Europa would be the in for Champions League. So they're massive, as well as still trying to work your way back in Serie A. However, there are still penalties that might be looming there, and that's why it might be the championships, those tournaments taking over precedence as far as importance. But you just wait and see, one day at a time, everybody, one day at a time. Now, Remo coming in here, moving forward, do you think if the new 3-4-3 does well or bad, that'll determine whether Max uses it again? I don't know if one game will be the decider, to be honest. But it's very, very hard to tell with Max, because you would have thought Salernitana would have been the time to see it, right? So I don't really know, to be honest. Omar, what are your thoughts?
I think we do. I think we will see it more if it will work out better, especially, over a couple of games, not only one.
Yeah.
Max is unpredictable a bit, and he always keeps us guessing who is he going to play, which way is he going to play. I don't, even if it works out well today, I don't think he'll try that against Nantes. I think he'll go with what the team knows better and more familiar with. But afterwards, I think we'll see it more and more. We have a pretty solid month in terms of opponents and spaces between matches. So now is the best time to try it out, because March, April, and May is not the time to try new things.
Yeah. I think it'll be over a couple games minimum. Anthony, everybody take Anthony easy. Let's go. Like the video. Let's go. Dom B coming in here. Do you guys think Mattia Perin is ready to carry the load for a full season at a big club at Juve, or do we need like a one big goalie just in case he falls flat? A 1B goalie. So, well, I think Perin can definitely be the starter at Juventus. Going back to what we were talking about earlier with Mirko Di Natale from yesterday's show, reminder, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was awesome stuff. But Perin will probably have 1 year where he is the starter at Juve, and that'll be the transitional period. Whether it comes early or at contract's end for Szczesny, Perin has 1 extra year over and above Szczesny, and I believe he will be the starter, and will be phasing in the next keeper for Juve, as we have a young guy. And who knows, maybe Perin could get extended to give the young guy even more time to get in there. But Perin, for me, definitely has what it takes to be at Juve as a starter. Omer.
Yeah, I think he can. It's not like he has never done it. Maybe not for Juve, but he has been the number one for Genoa for a long time. He knows what it means to be the number one, just not for Juve. Honestly, my hopes is exactly what Mirko said. I want Szczesny sold while we can and not lose him for free. I think Perin can handle the load for at least 1 or 2 seasons. And I really hope Juve get Karaneski and start implementing him bit by bit until he's ready to be a full-time goalkeeper.
Yeah. Remo coming in here saying poor Pinsolio never plays. Pinsolio, we also, again, we did a full roster recap with Mirko. He says Pinsolio's happy. He's happy with his 1 appearance a season, but he's a key presence in the locker room. And everybody has said that always about Pinsolio, and expect Pinsolio to get 1 year extension.
Wouldn't you be like, doesn't he, for all of us, for all the fans, everyone in the chat, doesn't he have the best job in the world? Like, sometimes I look at him and he gets to sit on the bench next to Buffon, play with these guys and train with them every day, be their friend. He's basically getting paid to be a top fan and be in the locker room. And wouldn't you be exactly the same if you had his role and you would never give it up?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He's not young.
I don't know if you want me and my emotions on that right in the bench there with all the guys. But yeah, sitting next to guys like Chiellini and whatnot, and then Ronaldo, the odd time he didn't play during his time at Juve, and just being there. And yeah, he's got a sweet gig. Let's put it that way.
And he's not young. It's not like he has a career ahead of him.
Jeremiah asking about video call-ins near future through WhatsApp. I don't think it's going to be through WhatsApp, but we can definitely work in. So the idea has been thrown out there to start doing call-in sessions for specific time zones to help out our subscribers who aren't always able to make this time slot. So we are looking at something to help out our supporters. We get a ton of love and support out of Australia. So that's been something we've been in the works. So something like this, Jeremiah, is definitely in the works where we can send links out and add some of you to chats, and they'll be just casual chats, not the match day lives, not the post matches, but just a pop-up show to just, hey, let's chat Juve. And it could go anywhere. It could go into jerseys. It could go into old days. It'll be fun. But we're definitely always looking to add ways to interact with you guys more. Okay. So yeah, it'll be great stuff.
And of course, if you
Jeremiah,
have any questions, we're all on Twitter. You can DM us. You can just tag us. We'll answer. We love the interaction. Feel free to message us with questions and everything. We'll gladly answer, all of us.
Yeah. So Dell's coming in there saying Pinso with the easiest job in the world. What would be an easier job than what he does? I don't know if there is one.
I don't know, being the king of England.
Actually, there is easier jobs. I just don't think they're cooler. I mean, like
I don't think they pay you as much.
You have pizza places that just ask people to hold signs up on their deals. Like that's a pretty easy job. That's probably easier than what he has to do.
Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't you're not training every day to hold a sign up. He's at least got to go and show up for training. I don't know. That's a pretty easy gig.
Yeah, I think the guy is living his best life. Like if I wanted to be something, that would be a third goalkeeper.
His hair also had this crazy Conte-esque revival, if you remember. So like he's got it all happening, man. Pinso's living the dream, everybody. Pinso is living the dream. Now, Dells says, you used to invite fans onto the pod for these sessions. Be nice to see more of that again. I know there's a settled team now, but it'd be nice. Hey, we definitely still do that. So we saw Nick Steele Allegri, Steele Juve, his Twitter account. He joined in. We have guys that represent other teams that show up. We have David Satori, who I talked about earlier, who's going to be joining us in a little bit. We still very much do that. You guys just with a team assembled now, we just leave it up to you guys to reach out and stuff too. And I will reach out occasionally. We have a few that are in queue to join. So we still very much do that. And we never forget. And like I said, interactions, doing that, we still want to make you guys very much a part in as many ways possible. So yeah, by all means, guys want to be a part of a show, we can make something happen. Like I said, in the future with these pop-up sessions, that's going to be geared towards people getting involved. So again, very much in the future. I will close on this as we start to get ready to shut things down, get into this game. There's another storm in the barn, and we will talk about it. I had a comment coming in, from a troll. Join in on the daily update videos talking about Omer's smoking, saying, and again, this guy, he's poking and prodding all the time, and I had to lay him out again, it was a quick one-punch knockout again, and I will say this. He says, so unprofessional smoking. Don't watch, Omer's not smoking here in my office, He's in the comfort of his own home. He has the full right to do it. If it bothers you that much, head over to the audio sessions, listen to the audio sessions, or just don't watch it all, You want the professionals, you want the watered down, filtered, and usually affiliation-minded opinions, go ahead, go for it. And I left it at that, but I said, do not comment on our stuff anymore, all right, if that bothers you that much. It's a joke. We like to keep things raw, uncut, unedited here. And the best part about this channel, in my personal opinion, is that what you see is what you get. It's not a show, It is a show, but it isn't a show in terms of what you get. We don't put acts on for anybody. We don't do it. Our opinions are all 100% true and authentic, and that's what you get. All right? So, and hey, if Lippy, my favorite of all time, can smoke a cigar at training and sometimes on the sideline, I have no problem with my man Omer having a cigarette during the show.
Yeah, yeah. And I will add, if a lot of people will tell me that it bothers them because maybe they watch it with their kids and stuff, I can respect that, honestly, and take that into consideration. No problem. But you gotta remember, it's not ESPN. We're a group of friends talking about the club we love, and that's part of it. Sometimes we'll drink beer during a show to celebrate something. I'm a smoker. I'm a relatively heavy smoker, from what you all can see. But if someone takes issue with it, they can talk to me, and I will explain and even take that into consideration. No problem at all. But I love your interactions and thank you for the responses.
Absolutely. I mean, Dom says we don't need to censor people here. We're all true Juventinian. Like I said, it's 100% authentic. What you see is what you get. It's nothing that we do is gimmicks or anything like that. So it's all good. Keep being you, Omer. Love it. Love it. Omar, it's okay for me. Just relax. People need to relax these days. Way too many people worrying about shit that shouldn't concern them. All right. If somebody else wants to smoke, that's their right. Okay. And again, if he wants to make some calls on this show, hey, write that check and send her over. And then maybe you can start making some calls. Till then, thank you. Have a good day. Storm the Barn. Jeremiah, do you guys plan to bring ex-Juve players for one-on-one? Oh, my God. God, Jeremiah. What a timing for this question, eh, Omer?
Yeah.
What a time for this question.
Right on the money.
I have been working ridiculously long and hard to get ex-players, not only ex-players, but even some current stuff. It is so difficult, but we may have gotten a bit of a breakthrough. There's 2 potentially right now that I continue to work for. But yes, we are definitely working on getting some ex-Juve players on for some shows. Whether they're going to be live or just recorded interviews is going to depend on what we can actually get out of them, to be honest. But oh yeah, you can bet your ass we are working on it so hard, and it is so difficult. I sent out a WhatsApp message yesterday. I saw that this ex-player read it. I'm just waiting for that response. Okay, so fingers crossed, but rest assured, I continue to work at that, you guys. It's just so difficult. So many things play in, but yeah, contacts continuously made and still working it. It's tough. It's tough.
We have Cassano on to recap the season, so stay tuned.
What's that?
We have Cassano to recap the season at the end. Tune in for that.
Oh man, Cassano, could you imagine? I think between him and myself, that would end probably in about 12 seconds. I would give it 12. We would have to take bets on over under 12 seconds, how long that would last with Cassano joining in here. But Evra. You think Evra?
Might be.
I don't know. But there's 2 that are in contacts right now, so we see what happens. Everybody, you guys are amazing as always. Please like the video. Again, reminder, in about an hour and 50 minutes, I am going to be back live for the watch along. Come share in the reactions. Juve Fiorentina. Let's continue to get the job done. Let's get the win today. Let's see what this trident can do, baby. Okay? First time out. Let's get after it, all right? Omar, always a pleasure. Reminder, everybody, post-match podcast tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, all right? But for now, go do your pregame rituals, okay? Superstitious, if you're superstitious, go do what you got to do. Put your whatever, lucky underwear on. I don't know. No pants. I don't know. Omar, you wearing pants today?
Yeah. Today I'm wearing pants. It's usually around the summertime that I go, not commando, but no pants.
Yes, there you go. My rituals. I don't really have anything, to be honest, anymore. I'm not very superstitious. Gigi Buffon always said, hey, superstitions are for the weak. Kind of take that. But I will say, if we have extra strong result and I wear a certain kit, I usually try to follow up with that. So not that I'm very superstitious, but the odd time I will do that. But what's funny is when I play, I keep things all the same in terms of how I gear up, what shin pad I put on first and what boot I put on first. If I'm playing and I'm on a hot streak, I do everything the same. So I guess you could say, I'm a bit superstitious. Omer?
And that's coming from the guy who kept his mustache for, what was it, 2 months, 3 months?
But I did it for everybody that was superstitious.
Yeah, and Napoli kicked it off your face. I bet
Hey,
your
man.
wife.
Hey.
I bet your wife was happy about that Napoli win.
Just but I was miserable, man. I was miserable. Not because of the mustache, but just that Napoli defeat. But yeah, she was pretty pumped on that.
Yeah,
that it had to come up. But goddamn, the stash was epic. We'll have to start something else if we go on another bit of a streak here, but we'll see what happens. Everybody, again, thank you as always. Fino alla fine, Forza Juve. I'll see you in an hour and 50 minutes, and then let's beat the piss out of Fiorentina today. All right, let's go. Ciao tutti. Thank you again. We will talk soon. All right, ciao.